Alright folks, well let's continue on. So I've actually traversed what I thought was going to be a lot more difficult of a trail, and we've come to the end where, like I said, I've filmed this area before, so some of you may be familiar with it. At one point there would have been a spur that came off of the Schuylkill and Lehigh here, and it would have came through here and it would have gone down this way to what is now present-day Water Street. Although Water Street is not paved, it's a grass road for about a good mile, and then it becomes paved. But at one time, that was a spur that ran to either an ore quarry or a limestone quarry. And I've actually seen the bed. It runs along the backside of the Rich Maiden golf course. So maybe one day in the future, I'll ask them if I can take a walk on their property and inspect that bed. But that's for a later day. So we're going to start working our way back. I believe I found the spot that the Evansville train station was at, but we're gonna go back through and I'm gonna root around a little more and see what else I can find. But again, I managed to get through this really easily today, and there is a bridge remaining down here, but there's a couple of local kids fishing, so I'm not gonna go down and bug them. But what is cool is that there's actually kids out fishing, and they're from Fleetwood too, which is where I graduated from. So kind of makes me proud. Right here we got a huge tie that's been fastened to the rails, and that is the bump stop for the end of the line. I don't know when that was done. Probably 50s or 60s. It's probably been there since. All right, let's go for a little walk. Here we got a nice little rock cut. Every time I've tried to go through the rock cut before, it's usually been too overgrown, but hit a perfect day here today, and we should be able to get through it. But take a look at the date on this piece of rail right here that I was able to find. And I was expecting to see a lot of Maryland rail, but I've actually found 3 pieces of what I believe is Pittsburgh Steel Company. We've got Open Hearth, 100 pound. I'm not sure what the 165 stands for. And then you got PSCO. So I'm assuming Pittsburgh Steel Company, 1913. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. September. Lake Ontelaunee. All right, let's go through the cut. Okay, I'll recap off the top of my head. Originally chartered as the Berks County Railroad, 1870s. It was basically to get coal from the Lehigh Valley down to the Wilmington and Philadelphia market, and it was to bypass the Reading and Philadelphia Coal Company and the Reading and Philadelphia Railroad as well. The Berks County Railroad was part of the Wilmington and Northern family for a brief minute. But once the Reading realized what was going on, they threatened to stop changing or switching out, or they said they were going to stop working with the Lehigh Valley Railroad if this took place. So after a few name changes and reorganizations, it ended up becoming the Schuylkill and Lehigh, and then the Schuylkill and Lehigh branch of the Philadelphia and Reading, and then later the Reading Railroad. It went all the way from I think in the last video I said Temple, Pennsylvania. I think it's actually south of Temple. I think it's on the other side of Reading is where the line actually originates. And then it goes through, or went through Temple, Pennsylvania, and, worked its way up through Berks County, through Maiden Creek, and then into Lehigh County, and eventually all the way up to Emerald, Pennsylvania, which is a couple miles away from Slatington. That's where the interchange with the Lehigh Valley was, in Emerald. Service started to cut back, I think, in the 40s from Lehigh County down to this direction towards Berks County. And I think by the 50s, the 60s at latest, this line was all done for the most part, except for what remains for the WK&S Railroad, which runs on this trackage. And then it's also still active under Norfolk Southern control for the Evansville Spur, which goes to Heidelberg Cement. I actually should have brought the dog on this walk. She would have had no problem. Again, I remember it being so much more difficult, although when there are leaves on the trees, it is a lot more difficult. We got beautiful Lake Ontelaunee to our right, railroad to our left. Imagine how scenic this would have been. There's another piece of rail that I marked. It's going to be the same one as the one we previously saw. Open hearth, 100 pounds. I believe Pittsburgh Steel Company, September 1913. All right, I'm going to wrap this one up and let's go see what else we can find.